Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. When gold was discovered in New Mexico's Cochiti mining district in the early 1890s, no one could have predicted the remarkable saga that would unfold. Within a decade, a bustling town of 3,000 people would rise in an impossibly narrow canyon, flourish with banks, schools, and an opera house, and then fade back into the wilderness, leaving only ruins carefully guarded from public access today. This is the story of Bland, one of America's most fascinating forgotten gold mining communities. The catalyst for Bland's explosive growth came from a simple newspaper comparison. When the Denver Rocky Mountain News enthusiastically proclaimed the Cochiti district as the new Cripple Creek, it triggered a massive human migration. The reference to Colorado's famously productive mining region was all potential prospectors needed to hear. A tide of humanity soon flooded into the remote New Mexico canyon, with newcomers arriving faster than accommodations could possibly be built. The situation quickly became desperate. Miners slept wherever they could find space, in streets, under trees, and in any available shelter. One enterprising businessman recognized opportunity amid the chaos and set up a tent filled with cots, charging the princely sum of $1 per night for a place to sleep, a rate that reflected both the shortage of housing and the wealth that early arrivals expected to generate from the promising mineral deposits. The settlement wasn't named haphazardly. The founders chose to honor Richard Parks Bland of Missouri, a nationally recognized figure famous for his opposition to silver demonetization. Bland had even received a presidential nomination, making the town's name a statement of economic allegiance during a time when monetary policy stirred passionate debate throughout the nation. By 1900, Bland had transformed from a collection of tents and hasty structures into a fully developed mining metropolis. The population had swelled to approximately 3,000 residents spread across both Bland proper and the nearby settlement of Albemarle, located just 3.5 miles away, but considered part of the greater community. March of that year found 1,500 men actively employed in the mines, mills, and lumber operations, working 7 days a week without pause. The continuous ring of the hammer and grate of the saw provided the town's constant soundtrack. The pace of development defied belief. In just 4 months, more than 50 structures rose from the canyon floor, supplied by 4 constantly operating sawmills that struggled to keep pace with demand. Despite its remote location and rapid growth, Bland quickly established the institutions of civilization. The town boasted 2 banks and even its own stock exchange. The Bland Herald newspaper kept residents informed of local happenings. For entertainment, townspeople could choose between an opera house for cultural performances or over a dozen saloons for more informal socializing. Families were accommodated with a school for the children and the Methodist Episcopal Church for spiritual guidance. A diverse array of stores ensured residents could purchase essentials without traveling to larger settlements miles away. What made Bland truly unique, however, was its extraordinary geographic predicament. The entire settlement was confined within an incredibly narrow canyon measuring just 60 feet wide in many places, roughly the width of a 4-lane road today. This severe limitation created unprecedented challenges that required innovative solutions unlike anything seen in other mining communities of the era. The residents of Bland essentially re-engineered the canyon itself to accommodate their growing population. They systematically blasted into the solid rock walls to create artificial spaces for buildings, reshaping the very landscape to meet their needs. The extreme space constraints led to unusual arrangements that would seem inconceivable in more conventional towns. One homeowner, finding no other available space, built his outhouse directly on the main street. Despite these challenging conditions, a vibrant community took shape. Women played a crucial role in establishing civic institutions, particularly the church and school. They worked diligently to create moral and educational foundations amid the chaotic frontier conditions, bringing stability to a place defined by constant change and adaptation. The social fabric of Bland was woven from remarkably diverse threads. One of the town's most colorful characters was known simply as the Diamond Queen, an influential courtesan who dominated Bland's red light district. In a development that generated considerable local discussion, this same woman donated both the altar and Bible to the Methodist Episcopal Church, creating complex relationships between different segments of the community. Education faced particular challenges in this environment. The school's first two teachers quickly resigned their positions, unable to control their energetic frontier pupils. The solution arrived in the form of P. Carrick Shannon, a strict disciplinarian who successfully restored order through rigorous methods. Among Bland's most remarkable residents was Mrs. F. B. Bruce, a woman who had completely lost her sight but developed extraordinary capabilities to overcome this challenge. Despite her blindness, she maintained an immaculate household and prepared excellent meals for family and guests. She mastered both piano and violin, regularly performing at school functions and community dances. Hewn Community. In October 1900, at the height of Bland's prosperity, an unexpected crisis threatened the town's very existence. A massive swarm of grasshoppers descended upon the settlement's water source, severely contaminating the creek that served as Bland's primary supply. The insects accumulated over 1 foot deep along the creek banks, creating an immediate public health emergency that required immediate action. The community responded with characteristic frontier resourcefulness. Emergency measures were implemented, including the excavation of alternative springs for drinking water. This collective effort maintained access during the crisis, though the solution was necessarily temporary. Fortunately, timely rainfall eventually washed away the accumulated insect matter, restoring the creek to what observers called its original purity without requiring further human intervention. Bland's economic trajectory followed the classic arc of a mining boom town. Production began in 1894 and steadily increased over the following decade. By 1904, the cumulative output had exceeded $1 million, an enormous sum for the time, equivalent to tens of millions in today's currency. For a decade, the Cochiti district transformed the regional economy and created substantial wealth for investors and workers alike. After 1904, however, the production figures began to show a marked downward trend. The most accessible and profitable veins had been exhausted, and new discoveries couldn't match the initial bonanza. Operations eventually ceased completely, though multiple attempts were made in subsequent years to revitalize mining activities. These revival efforts yielded only brief, intermittent productive periods with diminishing returns. The final historical assessment was blunt but accurate. These later efforts proved not too profitable. The definitive statement on Bland's economic fate was equally succinct. Bland's boom had passed. The town's compressed timeline from discovery to abandonment makes it a perfect case study of the mining boom-bust cycle that characterized Western development. Unlike some mining communities that successfully diversified their economies, Bland remained singularly focused on mineral extraction, a strategy that left it vulnerable when the mines played out. What makes Bland particularly fascinating is how it represents both the remarkable determination of frontier Americans and the fundamental limitations of economies built on non-renewable resources. The residents literally carved a city out of solid rock, only to abandon it when the gold was gone. A testament to both human ingenuity and the harsh economic realities that govern life on the frontier. Today, Bland's protected status on private property preserves its physical remnants, creating potential for future historical study of Western mining practices and daily life. The town stands as a monument to human ambition and adaptation, where people overcame seemingly impossible geographic constraints to build a complete community in a space barely wide enough for a single street. The story of Bland offers valuable insights beyond mere historical curiosity. It demonstrates the ephemeral nature of prosperity based on extractive industries. It showcases the extraordinary measures humans will take in pursuit of wealth, reshaping entire landscapes and living in conditions most would find unimaginable. And it reveals how quickly fortunes can change, transforming a bustling metropolis back into a silent canyon in the span of a single generation. Join my Patreon community and discover my art print products on my website in the links provided in my description and link above. Also, if you would like a particular image from my videos, give the timestamp for image, and I will upload it to my website and Patreon. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest Gold story. Check out my large catalog of Southwest videos and playlists on historical tales, legends, lost gold stories, and adult bedtime stories. If you like a certain image from my videos, tell me in comments and give timestamp. Happy trails! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.